Hello, my name is Lily, welcome to my channel. I'm trying something different today. I just tried filming this video an hour ago and it didn't turn out very well. In fact, it was quite terrible and kind of awkward to watch. So instead of just being okay with the subpar video, I brainstormed and I've decided that I know a way to make this a lot more fun. My brain isn't really with me today and I was having a hard time remembering all my thoughts on the books that I was trying to review, which doesn't translate very well. So instead of trying to come up with fresh thoughts, I'm going to be reading the reviews that I wrote right after I read them on Goodreads. They're fresh, they're fun, and they will be significantly less awkward. The first book I finished in July was The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. These are a few of my reading updates while reading this book. I like this book. Angry happy face. It has A words. Yeah, I think the AE combination word just really added to the magic of the book. This is a smart book. It's true. It gets better and better. The reading is slow because I feel like I'm learning a new language here. And here's my review. Maybe I should hold my phone in frame. Would that make us more comfortable or less comfortable? At least it's nice to look at. Okay, here's my review. Whoa. Just whoa. I can't believe I've never heard of this until last month. This is a guy who knows how to write a book. I loved the writing for the analogies. They always excited, never hindered. I have so many good things to say, but I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go get a snack. I'll be back. Read the book! And that is the extent of my review. I should really revisit that and write some more, better thoughts. That's really funny though. And I gave that one 5 whole stars. The second book I finished in July was Prentiss in Pink, which is book number 5 in the Princess Diaries series by Meg Cabot. Here's a reading update. I love these books so much! Ha ha ha, laughing, crying face. Okay, and here's my review for this one. It was okay. I don't know how there can be 4 more of these without running out of subject matter. Laughy crying face. It's already being spread kinda thin. I really like all the characters in these books. They're so distinct and nostalgic since I grew up with the movie. I also really like the pop culture references to 2000s stuff, and the diary format doesn't get old. It's like I want to read the next one, but at the same time I don't because I've memorized the formula that's reused in every book thus far. I want to keep reading, but I don't want to keep reading. You're picking up what I'm putting down. And I gave that one 3 stars. Yeah, I really liked the first couple books in that series, but as it goes on, not having as much fun with them. Third book I finished in July was Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. This was a pretty crazy one. Here are some of my reading updates. Let's see how this compares to the movie. It's gonna be pretty tough to beat. I enjoyed the movie greatly. Most of these pages are half pages and doodles. I'm gonna finish this in no time. I really feel like a lot of books these days can be condensed into like half the size if they would just fill a page. Like, why is it that no one wants to fill an entire page with words anymore? What's up with that? Another update. Oh. This was funny. This is a line from the book. His shoulders release a tension I didn't realize he'd been holding. Well, that's one way to shake up the cliche. Because if you read a lot of young adult books, you know that a lot of times, a lot of people are holding breaths and they don't realize that they're doing it. And then it has to be mentioned in the book. Our dog is yelling. Or maybe she's singing a song and I just don't appreciate it very much. The world is full of mysteries, dear friends. Here is part of my review for Everything Everything. I liked a lot of things about the book, such as the detail, the characters, and so on, but it moved so fast. And it spoils other books! I feel slightly betrayed by that. There's slight warning most of the time, so I had to skip over sections of the book. I think I liked the movie ending better. I need to do a book talk for this. And I did do a book talk for this. I'll link it somewhere. I gave this book 3 stars, but I'm almost tempted to go back and give it another star, just for the intrigue factor. I'm still thinking about this book. It was crazy. The 4th book I read in July was Airborne by Timothy Trimble. Reading update. I'm realizing that this reminds me of Jurassic Park. That's probably why I like it so much. If you're not already aware, Jurassic Park is one of my favorite books of all time, so that's a high compliment. I loved the concept of this book. The dreams where I can fly are the dreams that I never want to wake up from. So a book where people can fly just makes me really happy. Laughing, crying face. I use that face a lot. I also found that the story started to remind me of Jurassic Park a little bit. It's very science-y, and at the beginning of each chapter there's a little quote or poem to set the tone, which reminds me of Jurassic Park a lot. I just had a lot of fun with this story. Can't argue with that. And there's lots more to this review, like critiques and such. So if you would like to see the full thing, Goodreads, check it. I gave this one 3 stars as well. The 5th book I read in July was Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab, and this was the 2nd and final book in the Monsters of Verity series. Or is it a duology? I feel like it's called a series. And this was supposed to fulfill the hyped book challenge for Booktubeathon. This was the first book I read in Booktubeathon. I only finished 2, but at least I tried, right? Reading updates. Very stabby. Yeah. This book is very violent. It's like Battle of the Five Armies up in here. How is this book going to conclude perfectly within 45 pages? That was a serious question I was asking myself, but she did it really well. It all worked out. Here's my review. Right in the heart. That's it. By the time this video goes up, I think I will have added on to that review a little bit because it tells nothing of my feelings. There was so much to take in, I just wasn't ready to do it right away. But I gave it 4 stars, and it was an excellent conclusion to that little duet. The 6th book that I finished in July was All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This fulfilled the challenge, read a book about a character very different from you, for Booktubeathon. And this was the only other book I read in Booktubeathon. Why did I choose the longest books in the whole world? Actually, Our Dark Duet went by really fast. It was just sitting down and reading that was the trouble. That always gets ya. Reading update. Chapter 0. I'm intrigued. The book starts out by saying, Chapter 0. That's so cool. And then at 50%, I said, this is way better than when it first started out. I was really skeptical when I first started out. It seemed too average, but it did get a lot better. Here's the review. I almost wish I hadn't listened to the audiobook because it really requires your full undivided attention, which I cannot give when the freedom to multitask is available. This is a World War II historical fiction, and while at first it sounded a little too much like every other World War II historical fiction, it had its own unique story to tell. However, I feel like the only things that set it apart were the events. I don't know why, but I feel like every World War II novel I've read thus far has used the same storytelling style. I wrote an example of this in the review. I wrote it kind of as a joke, but also just trying to get my point across. And I think it's funny, so if you want to see it, good reads. I really think that sitting down and reading this for realsies would have helped me to appreciate the intriguing details that I'm sure this book possesses. Now I know. And there's a lot more to the review. I had a lot to say. I know a lot of people really liked this book, and it's won like awards and stuff, so I don't doubt that it's a good book. I just think that I probably should have read it in a physical copy, because if you miss one thing, it's like you lose track of the whole story, and so if I'm getting distracted, it just doesn't work out really well. So I gave it 3 stars, but there's a possibility that I will go back and reread it in the future sometime, so we'll see. And that's not my full review, so if you want to read the full review, go to Goodreads. So those are all the books that I actually finished in July, but I did DNF one, finally. I didn't read as many books as I wanted to during Booktubeathon, but it did help me to just like pick up a book and say, alright, are you worth my time or no? So I was able to DNF a couple. And I'm only mentioning this one because I've mentioned it here before, so I think I have to bring some closure to the situation. I've finally decided to quit For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway. In an attempt to explain myself, I'll read you some of my thoughts. Reading updates. Nothing special so far. Hope it picks up. That was the very first day that I started reading, and I should have listened. I googled a synopsis of the story and now have a much better understanding of what's going on. I don't get why they didn't explain it at the beginning of the book. Yeah, seriously, what's up with that? This is set during the Spanish Civil War and the main character is American. I'm gonna have to change up the voice I'd given him in my head. I thought he was Spanish. I was very confused at the beginning. And my review is... I've finally decided to give this one up. I started it almost exactly 3 months ago and only made it to page 211 by force of sheer willpower. This is not a terrible book, but it's not for me. I can tell you all sorts of facts about the characters, their thoughts on the war, their biggest regrets, where they're from, where they want to go, and which horse belongs to them, so that's pretty impressive. But what's the point of knowing characters so well if they never do anything that makes you root for them? I really liked a lot of parts of this book. I liked how it's like directly translated from Spanish, even though the author speaks English, but nothing happens. From the beginning, when you get your goal, to the end, when the goal is presumably carried out, in between, there's a whole bunch of nothing. It's just like a bunch of banter and sitting around and stuff. I got pretty bored of it, but that's okay. Giving up books is okay. because now I have time to read all the books that I actually will enjoy. And that concludes the video. Thank you for watching. What did you think of this video? I'm curious to get some feedback. Please be sure to like the video before you leave if that reflects your feelings, and leave a comment if you've read any of these books, and subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. I'm sure you'll see me next time. My name is Lily. This is my channel. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.